Investigators are launching a new high-tech search today for a plane that disappeared more than 10 years ago.
Well, it's one of the biggest hunts in aviation history. The mystery of the missing Malaysian passenger jet has now drawn in more than 25 countries.
Now, a new search for Malaysia Airlines flight.
A decade after it vanished, the search for missing passenger plane MH370 will soon resume.
On December 30th, 2025, ships quietly entered one of the most remote stretches of ocean on the planet. No fanfare, no press conference, just the hum of engines cutting through freezing southern waters. For the third time in 12 years, the hunt for MH370 had begun again, and this time people genuinely believed it would be the last sweep needed. 16 days later, those ships turned around and came home empty-handed again.
Before we go any further, drop a comment right now and tell me, what country are you watching this from? I want to see just how far this case has reached around the world. Let's go back to the beginning, because to understand why every search keeps failing, you need to understand what actually happened on March 8th, 2014. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 lifted off from Kuala Lumpur on what was supposed to be a routine flight to Beijing. 239 people on board. 40 minutes into the flight, the transponder went dark, just like that. Military radar then picked up something extraordinary. The aircraft wasn't continuing to Beijing. It had turned back across Malaysia, flown northwest, and then banked south, deep into the Indian Ocean. After that, it was gone, but not completely. The plane's satellite communication system, through a company called Inmarsat, kept sending automatic handshake signals for 6 more hours after the transponder went off. These weren't GPS coordinates. They were just electronic pulses saying, "I'm still here," and those pulses drew arcs across the ocean. The 7th and final arc, recorded at 8:19 in the morning, became the primary search target. Somewhere along that invisible line in the water, MH370 ran out of fuel and fell. Then the debris started appearing. July 2015, a wing flap called a flaperon washes up on Réunion Island. Then wing pieces in Mozambique, interior panels in Madagascar, 33 confirmed fragments in total, scattered across the Western Indian Ocean and the African coastline. Every single piece confirmed one thing: the plane ended in the ocean. The question was just where. Australia, Malaysia, and China launched the most expensive aviation search in history. From 2014 to 2017, they swept 120,000 square kilometers. Found nothing. In 2018, a private company called Ocean Infinity stepped in on a no-find, no-fee deal and covered another 112,000 square kilometers. Still nothing. By early 2025, the total searched area had reached 232,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of the entire United Kingdom, and the plane had not been found. Then, late 2025, Malaysia approved Ocean Infinity's proposal for one more attempt: new technology, a refined 15,000 square kilometer search box built from updated satellite and drift data. December 30th, the search begins. January 15th, 2026, it's paused. 16 days. Less than half the planned area covered. Nothing. Now here's the question that nobody in the mainstream media is asking loudly enough. What if they're not just failing to find the plane? What if they're looking in the completely wrong ocean? If this is your first time on the MH370 file, hit subscribe right now. We go deeper on this case than anyone else. Every week, we dig into the data, the theories, and the things official investigators won't say out loud. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. A French researcher named Jean-Luc Marchand spent years doing something the official searches never properly did. He tracked every piece of recovered debris backward through ocean currents. He factored in wind, seasonal current shifts, drift speeds, everything. And everything pointed to one specific location: 35.7 degrees south, 93 degrees east. A spot his team calls the Captain Yellow Triangle. Ocean Infinity didn't search it, not in 2018, not in 2026. It sits completely outside their search box, untouched. And Marchand isn't alone. Multiple independent research groups, using entirely different methodologies, have arrived at high probability crash zones that are all outside the area Ocean Infinity has been searching. Aviation analyst Jeff Wise has published detailed breakdowns showing how the chosen search area doesn't align with the physical evidence. These aren't fringe bloggers. These are people who have spent years with the actual data. Then there's glide theory, and this one changes everything. The official searches have always assumed that when MH370 ran out of fuel, it went into an immediate steep, uncontrolled dive. That keeps the wreckage zone relatively compact, maybe a few dozen kilometers either side of that 7th satellite arc. But what if someone was still in the cockpit? A Boeing 777 gliding from cruising altitude, with a conscious pilot at the controls, could travel 70 to 100 nautical miles beyond where the fuel ran out. If that's what happened, the search area doesn't expand slightly, it explodes. You're suddenly looking at a massive oval covering tens of thousands of additional square kilometers that no one has ever touched. The math is brutal. If the plane glided just 50 nautical miles beyond what the models predict, then every single search since 2014 has been looking in the wrong place. Here's something I want to know, and be honest in the comments. Do you think the pilot deliberately flew the plane, or do you think it was an accident? Type deliberate or accident below. Let's see where the community stands. Even if you ignore the wrong search zone problem, there's a deeper issue. Every single piece of evidence in this case contradicts every other piece. There's a global radio monitoring network called WSPR, Weak Signal Propagation Reporter. Thousands of amateur radio operators around the world transmit low-power signals that bounce through the atmosphere. When a massive metal object, like a Boeing 777, passes through those signals, it creates tiny disturbances, millisecond delays, strength changes, micro bends in the signal. Researchers went back through archived WSPR data from March 8th, 2014 and mapped hundreds of these disturbances into a continuous flight path, a path showing deliberate turns, altitude changes, someone actively flying the plane. And that path leads to a crash location hundreds of kilometers away from where Ocean Infinity is searching. The mainstream search community dismisses WSPR as unproven, fine. But then the University of Western Australia's drift models, years of rigorous academic oceanographic research, also point to crash locations that don't match Ocean Infinity's zone. Then there's British sailor Catherine T, who was crossing the Indian Ocean that very night and reported seeing an aircraft trailing black smoke and orange flames at a position that doesn't align with any official search zone. She filed a report, authorities noted it, and everyone moved on because it didn't fit the satellite data. And then there's the one detail that haunts me every time I think about it. Every commercial aircraft carries emergency locator transmitters, ELTs, that automatically activate on water impact. They float, they broadcast. MH370 had 4 of them. Not one activated. Not one signal was ever detected. That either means the impact was so catastrophic they were instantly destroyed, or something else happened entirely. People always compare MH370 to the Titanic because Titanic gives us hope. Robert Ballard spent years trying to find it, developed new technology, and in 1985, after just 8 days of actual searching, he followed a debris trail straight to the wreck. 73 years after it sank, people say, if we found Titanic, we can find MH370. But here's why that comparison falls apart completely. Titanic had a known location, distress calls, survivor accounts, last known coordinates radioed out. The search box was about 260 square kilometers. MH370's potential crash zone is 2 million square kilometers. That's not a little bigger. That's 8,000 times larger, and it's not even a real location, just calculated arcs from satellite signals. Titanic sat at 3,800 meters, right at the edge of 1985 technology, but reachable. Parts of MH370's search zone go down to 7,400 meters. Current AUVs max out at 6,000 meters. If the plane is sitting in over 7,000 meters of water, and parts of the search zone definitely are that deep, our technology literally cannot reach it. And Ballard had unlimited funding from the US Navy. Ocean Infinity is working on a no-find, no-fee contract where they only get paid $70 million if they actually succeed. The Titanic comparison doesn't give us hope. It proves why this is different. If you've made it this far, you already know this channel goes places others won't. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell, because next week we're going deep on the satellite ping data that the official investigators have never fully explained publicly. Let me give you the cold math. Ocean Infinity's 2026 search covered roughly 300 square kilometers per day. The current target zone is 15,000 square kilometers. At that pace, finishing it takes about 50 days of continuous searching. But if glide theory is correct, the real search area isn't 15,000 square kilometers, it's 2 million. At 300 square kilometers a day, covering that would take over 6,600 days. That is 18 years of non-stop searching with zero guarantee of a $70 million payout at the end. It's not going to happen. And even if they're searching in the right place, stack the probabilities. Portions of the zone are physically unreachable by current technology. Rough volcanic terrain could hide a wreck from sonar even if you pass directly over it. After 12 years, sediment burial could conceal debris entirely. Sub-bottom profilers only see 1 to 2 meters deep. Scattered small debris can look identical to natural geological features on sonar imaging. And if the pilot glided beyond the 7th arc, none of the searched zones matter at all. When you combine those probabilities, the chance of MH370 being both locatable and detectable with current technology in the areas currently being searched is approaching zero. Over $200 million has been spent. 33 pieces of debris recovered, 0 wreckage, 0 black boxes, 0 answers. Here's what I keep coming back to. Every few years, new technology arrives, new data gets analyzed, a new search zone gets drawn up, ships go out, ships come back, and 239 families are still waiting. The ocean doesn't give up its secrets easily. And this one might never come up. Tell me in the comments, do you think MH370 will ever be found? Yes or no? And where in the world are you watching from? I read every single comment on this channel.
I'm the MH370 file. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and I'll see you in the next one.